This is Democracy and the Rule of Law on Galaxy Television, and I still have barristers Yinka Farombi and Kingsley Chime. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC on Friday listed the conditions for political parties to substitute candidates whose names have been forwarded to the Commission. For the electoral umpire, the law does not give any political party the right to replace a validly nominated candidate, as it is the prerogative of the individual to be substituted. While the former forwarded the name of Ibrahim Kabiru Mazari as its vice presidential candidate, the latter had nominated Donye Okonkwe for the same position, talking about the Labour Party and the APC. Now, this comes amid report that some political parties, including the All Progressive Congress, APC, and Labour parties, nominated their vice presidential candidates as placeholders, pending the conclusion of talks for a substantive candidate to be picked. We talked about it last week when we were taking a look at equity governorship election, you know, and we delve a little into the different political parties and how their presidential candidates, flag bearer, came into being, and the race for them to find their vice president. And looks like the only party that were able to pick a real vice presidential candidate has been the PDP flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar, that picked Governor Fayokowa of Delta State. So a lot of the other, parties, especially the APC and the Labour Party, picked a placeholder. And now INEC has come out to say it is illegal, as it were. Makes it all complicated. What's your take on it?
Well, my take on this is that
because sorry to cut you, the INEC said that there is provision of the in the Electoral Act for withdrawal of candidate validly nominated, and law provides that the political party cannot substitute a candidate that has been validly nominated, except in two instances: if the nominated candidate dies, or if the nominated candidates withdraw from the race. But the big question is, these placeholders, are they validly nominated? That is the question here.
Well, that is the question, and you see, that's why we say law cannot take care of every eventualities. There will always be certain things that happens, and law never envisages all this. And when it happens, then you have to go back to the law too and see how can you wriggle out of this. Well, the INEC cannot say that political party cannot substitute their candidate. No, if they are saying that, they are running foul of their own law.
Because they say only through death, or the vice presidential nominee will have to write a letter of withdrawal himself, not the party, not the flag bearer.
Yes, when you look at Section 31 of the Electoral Act, it says that a nominated candidate can withdraw his nomination, and when he does that, he will write a letter to his party withdrawing his nomination, and the party will forward the same letter to INEC. Is in the law there. Section 33 says the conditions under which a candidate will withdraw is by death, a candidate could be substituted is by death or withdraw from the race. However, there is a proviso, and the proviso is to the extent that when there's just withdrawal, which must have been communicated to INEC 90 days to the election or so, and when there is just withdrawal, then there will be a fresh primary within 14 days to select another candidate. But the question now is the vice president, does the vice president actually run for election at the primary? The answer is no. So the only person that runs for the election at the primary is the presidential candidate. No, if you don't have issue with the presidential candidate, and maybe the standing VP now wrote and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm no longer interested in this foot. I'm withdrawing my candidate." What is open to the law? What the next thing that is open to the law is for the candidate to pick another person.
Now, another scenario here. What if that stand-in or placeholder decides to rain on the parade of the party or the candidate and say no? Let's say, for example, now Ibrahim Kabiru Mazari, is a stand-in vice president for Atiku. Now decide, Tinubu now decide to say no. I want this office. Well, and I'm not going to. What can the party and the flag bearer do about it?
There's nothing the party or the flag bearer can do about it. That's why I said, let us be ruled by the rule of law. The provision of the law is there. Once you are nominated under Section 29 of the Electoral Act, you can only exit that nomination by virtue of either Section 31 or 33 of the same evidence. And there's a proviso. So, but in this case, the VP or the nominated candidate for office of
the placeholder
never contested the primary. So, if they turn in their letter and say, "I am no longer interested," I think the presidential candidate should be at liberty to pick another person. However, where it says, "Oh, I've tasted this thing,
and I don't want to leave.
It's so sweet. I'm no longer feel like vomiting it. So please take me as I am. I want to be your
running mate.
Your running mate." If that happens, then that is the party should know what to do. But by law, that stays. That stays by law. Okay. That stays because in whatever form, you need the concurrence and consent of the fellow that was nominated
the placeholder
before it can be replaced. So
this is interesting.
It's interesting.
Barrister Chief, let's hear you on this.
I think the issue about placeholder or stand-in or whatever name so-called is a question of semantics. What I often refer as semantic gymnastics. You can choose to call it anything. But whether or not the nominated candidates are validly nominated in the face of the law, the answer is yes. But in fact, were they rightly nominated is a different question altogether. There's what they call in law de jure and de facto. In law, those nominated candidates are de jure nominator. They nominated it in law. They stand nominated. But in fact, that is de facto. We all know that they are standing in until the political party or the presidential aspirant makes up his mind. And I think it is not a dangerous thing for us. It is not out of place for someone to say, okay, stand in for me or stand in this position in order not to run foul of the law while we search for a credible running mate. Because the essence of election is for you to win. So if you rush into, have someone whom at the end of the day you begin to have a rethink, it also jeopardizes the interest of the aspirant and that of the political party. Nobody expects that a political party or the presidential aspirant would ask someone or nominate someone whom he does not trust so well that would relinquish or resign in accordance with the Electoral Act and do an affidavit that he's no longer interested and he'll be replaced. So I think it's part of the election process. It's part of our electioneering process. Whether the political parties have rights to substitute or to remove the nominated vice presidential aspirant, the answer is yes. Whether those nominated so far are
what if the person refused to relinquish that position?
For the political parties, that will be the end of the road for them. Like I said earlier, we don't expect that a political party will nominate someone who is not loyal to the party. So it's about party loyalty. Of course, if you look at someone like Doyin Okupe, who is also the director general of PPP campaign and all of that, and I mean the head of the Labour Party, you don't expect that he would, hold on to that position because he has not been elected. These are aspirants. If you want to remain there, well, that is the bad news for them. But I'm optimistic and I'm aware that at the end of the day, these people will be replaced. They have not violated any law.
Who told you they've not even secured those withdrawal letter? First from the standing VP before the name was sent. So that withdrawal letter could have been secured and filed in a place just to be brought out and presented.
Wow.
So you cannot. Politicians are clever too.
Now, talking about vice president, how important is it to pick someone that you two can work together? Because yesterday Obasanjo made news when he came out to say one of his biggest mistake in office was picking Atiku Abubakar as his vice president. How much of damage is it to the person of Atiku that is running under the platform of the PDP now?
Well, a statement, very heavy statement like that coming from a very heavy caliber, like the personality of former president of the country, General Olusegun Obasanjo. And
they worked together for 8 years. I mean, their feud was public.
It will definitely have effect. And when you look at it, since the emergence of Atiku as a flag bearer for PDP, a lot of people, particularly from social media and what have you, have been quoting copiously from the book of Obasanjo, My Watch, this and on things that he said about Atiku. Yes, it could have effect. It could.
Let's not even talk about the fact that he has come out several times to contest for president, and
so it could have effect. But then there's nothing that could not be managed. It all depends on the manner in which the candidate itself manages it. Look at when someone said Obi was stingy. Obi decided not to make a response.
The public was even responding for him.
Public was responding for him. So by the time you feel that, oh, I'm above this, I cannot dance with the pigs, and you maintain your dignified silence, it could.
And the same Atiku, picked, Ifeanyi Okowa, which has gotten a lot of backlash, especially from southern leaders, that calling him a traitor, for accepting the vice presidential nomination when he was at the top of the clamor for southern presidents within the PDP. Do you really see that as a betrayal to the call for southern presidency?
The truth of the matter is, one of the golden rules in politics is that trust nobody. And particularly in this part of the world, our politicians,
we don't even play politics of ideology.
Are they interested in us, or they are interested in themselves? I can assure you, I can tell you for free, and you can take it to the bank, that every politician is only concerned about what he makes out of politics, not the impact he wants to make for the life of the society in general, particularly in this part of the world. Now, for Governor Okowa, well, I will not see it totally as a betrayal.
Okay.
However, I had loved a situation whereby all the Southeast and South-South governors will probably come together and probably agree whether they are deviating from their previous agreement or not. More so when there is a clause for rotation within the constitution of PDP. If that constitution is strictly adhered to, I do not think the presidential candidate will come from the north. So if they have worked in harmony, they should have even challenged the non-rotation. Exactly, they should have challenged in the first instance that no, this is our constitution. If you cannot adhere strictly to it, then we go to court, let the court interpret it for us. But you find out that everybody is running to make what he can make. And besides that, and this is with due respect, with due reference to them, is the South interested in even taking the flag bearer of PDP? Look at the patterns of voting. Almost all the eastern states.
In other words, they jeopardize their chances.
They jeopardize their chances. That's why I said I will not say totally that Okonwa betrayed the cause. The betrayal of the cause started from every state, particularly of the southeast, except Ebonyi State. The other one, probably for a pot of porridge, I don't know. Probably for a Ghana must go, I don't know. Probably for $1, I don't know. But they cast their votes to someone else instead of their own. If they are prepared, if they are ready that, oh, we want this presidency to come to us, then they should give that little vote to themselves.
They should have fought more within the party.
Exactly. So after doing that, after they've jeopardized their own chances,
they cannot
tell Okonwa not to accept the offer that was given to him.
So
that's my own take.
So what is your own take on that? Let's round up with you here, because let's take a look at some of the permutations now, shall we? Taking a look at the pros and the cons. I mean, in a normal situation, who would be picking politicians or political followers in Nigeria and watchers will be taking a look at PDP and APC. You know, I mean, the two big political parties.
Yes.
And then a surprise package came into play. Peter Obi first leaving the PDP, and he's gradually becoming, a force to be reckoned with. Now, so now we have a three-horse race instead of a two-horse race. Now, looking at the pros and the cons for the three of them, who do you think have a better chance? Let's start with you before I come to you. Let's take a look at APC first. Tinubu, of course, has been having backlash for his age, for his health, and some people are saying he's had a strange hold on Lagos. And there's a debate if that has actually improved Lagos or not. And some people are also saying he didn't really come out with a manifesto other than the fact that he wants to take a bucket list. He wants to, him wanting to be the president of Nigeria is a wish more than for national unity or what's happening. Then, of course, we know that but of course, on the advantage side, is the most influential politician we have right now, and he has the money to go for it, the richest politician. And of course, APC, from all of us looking from outside looking in, APC looked like a better structured political party than PDP and the other ones. I don't want to use the word mushroom parties, and all that. So they have advantage and disadvantage. PDP, on the other hand, Atiku, when you're talking about political prowess and finances, he seems to be the only person that can match Atiku, match Tinubu, which understandably why the PDP will want to go for him. But on the other hand, there's a backlash, from the party from Nigerians that, hey, you promised us a southern presidential candidate. Why are you picking a northerner? And some people are saying an Atiku doesn't exactly inspire national unity. They see him as a northern supremacist, as it were. And Peter Obi, on the other hand, loved by Nigerians. He is young, but he's winning the war on social media, but Nigerians don't vote via social media, unfortunately. The people that really vote, the political superpowers of this country are not on social media, they are live, and he doesn't have the privilege of a strong party structure, that the APC and PDP have. So it's a dilemma for Nigeria. So looking at that, let me hear your permutation of that as we round up.
Yes, thank you so much. Because time is already spent, I won't have enough time to analyze the pros and the cons of all the three main contending persons. I call them persons loosely because the 2023 election is going to be based on individuals and not political parties. We've had enough of PDP, we've had enough of APC, so it is no longer about party politics. It's about individuals. What do you stand for? What can you deliver on the promises? How do Nigeria assess your performance while you are in government? So it is not about PDP, APC, or structure. Like, at the risk of campaigning for one of the parties, it is not, human beings are the structures we need for us to elect credible candidates in Nigeria. So if you look at the trajectory, the path of these three main contenders, in the real sense of, if we're allowed, if people should make their honest choices or decisions, do you think somebody like Tinubu and Atiku will stand a chance for P2B? I do not think so. But I'm optimistic that 2023 election is going
We've got to your answer there. We have to go, unfortunately. We have to go. So,
well, you see,
30 seconds.
I hardly like to be indulged in realm of speculations. But all I know is that when you are talking of winning election, it goes beyond so many things we are talking about. Now, people could be shouting your praises, and at the end of the day, are they going to vote for you? Take, for instance, the primary of APC. When the vice president was to address the gathering, for about 5 minutes, they were only praising him and clapping for him. They do not allow
But
him.
at the end of the
They
day,
do not
he did
allow
not
him
win.
to address. But at the end of the day, you see what happened. So I want to believe that structure matters.
Party structure matters. So you still think it's still one of APC and PDP?
But I do not know. May God give us the best.
Okay,
and the issue of head belongs to God.
Thank you so much, Barristers Yinka Farumbi and Kinsi Chime. Thank you for your time. Okay, until next time, what we say again, thank you so much for tuning into Galaxy Television and watching the program Democracy and the Rule of Law. Until next time, when we see you again, of course, we'll be here to follow what is happening in Nigeria, and we'll be here to analyze and talk about it and give you an informed decision. I'm Solomon of See you again next time.